Okay, we are now going to be moving forward onto task 3, databases. So the first thing you should do is to go to your folder and create a database file. So right click, new, Microsoft Access, and then you can give the file a suitable name. So 2017 summer 21, so S21. Then you can open up the database application, enable content. So we are going to be importing some CSV files. Okay, so this one, and this one. Before we start, check if we are going to be using a specific currency. So in this case, it's not a specific currency we're going to be using. However, we need to make sure the currency is formatted to 2 decimal places. Okay, so we're going to be using these files here. So let's go to our folder. So this is the first file we're going to be using, J2 rooms, this file here. Okay, so using a suitable database application, so Access, we are first of all going to import this file, so J217 students.csv into our database. So we click on external data, text file, and then we need to click on browse to browse for the CSV file. So I'll go to recent. Okay, just double check again, which one do I need? Students. Okay, and click on next. So when you reach this point here, you'll notice the first row contains field names, so you can tick this box here. Then you need to click on advanced. Okay, so make sure the data is in the correct format, day, month and year, which it is in this case. So the first things we should be looking out for is the Boolean field. So we want to change the Boolean field. I'm going to go down. Yeah, so the Boolean field will be displayed as yes or no. So we want to format the Boolean field at this particular moment. So let me go to the question paper. Paid. Paid will be yes or no. Let's go back to the top again. So the first 3 fields should be text. Let's just double check. So text, text, text. Birthday should be date and time, which it is. Then the next 4 should be text again. So let me double check. Text, 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 text. Weeks is an integer, a numeric value, and paid is yes or no. That's fine. So let's go next, next. Now we need to check what we need to use for the primary key. So it says use roll number field as the primary key. So this field here will be the primary key. So I can select this particular field as the primary key. Okay, and finish. Once we've done that, then we can check our data, and we can see here this needs to be changed into a Boolean format, so yes or no. So if you go to Home, Design View, Paid, and we have to change the format to yes or no. And we click on View. Okay, so once you're happy, you can see this is yes or no. We can move forward. So let's press Save. Let's close this down. Let's go to the next question. Oh, before we do so, let's take a screenshot showing the field names and data types used in this table. Okay, so let's take this screenshot. So Home, Design View, we need to basically print screen this into our evidence document. So step 22, yes, it was step 22. I'm going to move this part onto the next page, and then I'll paste in the screenshot. So again, crop off the part which is not required, and when you want to make sure the screenshot is a good size and is easy to read. Okay, so I'll press Save. Okay, so question 23. We have to set a criteria which will only allow the letters M or F to be entered into the genders field. So into this field here, it should be only allowing us to type M or F. So at the moment, if I go to gender, I'm able to type any letter. So it's asking us to use validation to restrict us to only enter M or F into this particular field. So if you go to design view, if you click on gender, data type, and we have to set a validation rule. So the rule is only the letters M or F can be entered into this particular field. So for the validation rule, the rule is simply M or F, so male or female can be entered into that particular field. So if we go back to design view, save the changes, and now if I do try typing in something else, it's not going to let me. So the validation rule has been set. So you simply type M or F. Okay, so now we have to take a screenshot to show how this data has been limited and restricted. Okay, so making sure this field has been selected, so print screen. Let's just make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so now again we need to show evidence of the validation rule being applied to the correct field. Okay, so now again we can increase the size of the picture, and we can see on this particular field we have applied the validation rule to restrict the data only to be M or F that can be entered into that particular cell. Okay, so let me press save. Okay, now I need to add this record. In some exam papers they may ask you to create a new form, a data entry form. In this case I haven't, so what you'll have to do is go to the bottom of this table and we will insert the new record at the bottom of the table. Just going to make that size smaller, so make sure you enter the details exactly as they appear on the exam paper. I will copy and paste. Okay, names. This new field that we enter now will most likely turn up in the report, so and that's where you'll receive the marks in the report. So F for female. Last few fields check. Okay. And even be careful about use of capitals. So if it's using capital letters, please use the same upper or lowercase letters that appears for 5 and then yes. Okay, and once you've done that, you can press save. Now let's move forward. Okay, so check your data. Mine should be fine as I've copied and pasted. Okay, now I'm going to import the next CSV file as a new table into my database. So it's going to be the rooms CSV file. So I can close this down, don't need to have it open. Again, if I click on external data, text file, if we go to browse, and this time I want to select the room CSV file. Yeah, comma separated values. Okay. Next. Again, the first row you'll notice are field names, so we need to select this as field names. You can see here there's going to be some sort of currency. Okay. So let's see what else is in the question. So set the ACC underscore code as the primary key. So if I go to advanced, I can check the dates. There is no date. For the weekly cost of an extra night, I'm going to leave this as double for now, because a double basically means a decimal number in computing terms. So later on I'll change the format into a currency with 2 decimal places. What you don't want to do is change it into an integer, because if you do, then you lose the numbers beyond the decimal point. So let's leave it as double for now. Next. We can choose our primary key as stated in the exam paper, so ACC_code. As you can see, these are unique values. So next and finish. So before we move forward, as you can see, these are probably fields that need to be, formatted into a currency. So we click on number, format currency, and we can select it 2 decimal places. And the same again, format currency, and we can select 2 decimal places. And click on view. Okay, and that's been changed into currency. And because we've kept it as double as well, it's maintained the numbers beyond a decimal place. Okay, so now we have to create a relationship. So let's just have a look at the 2 tables. So to create a relationship, the exam paper will tell you which fields, but we can have a look ourselves. So the first thing we should do is look at the first primary key, the roll number. Now, does that primary key, does that information appear here anywhere? I can't see it. So let's look at the accounts code. So these codes here. Can we see that data? Yeah, we can see that data here. So basically, without looking at the exam paper, we know we're going to be using this primary key, and we're going to be linking it to this foreign key here. So before I make the relationship, let's save and close the tables. Go to database tools, relationships, and let's add both of these tables. So we can have a look at the exam paper just to confirm. Create a relationship between the account code field in the students table, which is this one here, and the same field in a rooms table, as you can see. So this primary key will be linked to this foreign key here, and then we can click on, yep, that's a one-to-many relationship. We can click on create, close, yes, and then if you open that table, you'll notice all the records have been linked. Okay, so take a screenshot showing evidence of the relationship between the tables. Insert the screenshot into our evidence document. Okay, so if we go back to relationships, let's take a print screen of this. Go back to my evidence document. It may fit on this page. If it doesn't, we'll have to change it to the other page, or move this print screen to the next page. Okay, let's uncrop. Okay, we can leave it on this page. It's really obvious, and we can see the relationship. Okay, so again, we'll go back to Access. We'll save our changes. Okay, and that's the first part of the database complete. Okay, now we're going to be moving on to the first report. So you would have noticed I've already annotated the question. So the bullets in yellow are going to be the tasks we complete in a query. So selecting the fields will be the first thing I do. Okay, and then I will name the query the same name that will go on the top of the report, and then I will filter the records using the search criteria highlighted here. Okay, so always when you're making a query, we're going to start by selecting a field. So we need to first of all click on Create Query Wizard. Okay, and we can select fields from both of these tables here. So let's have a look. So roll number, course, and weeks. Roll number, course, weeks. You need to make sure the fields are inserted in the right order. First name, last name, birth date. First name, last name, and birth date. And paid in this order. Okay, next. So always the first thing you should be doing, and even if I go to the second question which I've annotated, we're selecting the field names. Okay, and then the second thing, same as I've done here, we're going to label or name our query with the same title that will be at the top of the report. Again, be careful, it's case sensitive, so make sure you're using capital letters if you have to. Okay, art summer schools, finish. So before we start, let's have a look. We're starting with 299 records. Okay, so we're starting with 299 records. So the next thing we can do is filter these records using our search criteria. So the course contains the word art. So let's look here. Because we have many words in here, we want to find art. So if I simply typed in, this is a mistake a lot of people will make. If I go to design view and go to course and typed in art, this is a mistake many people would make. It would give you some records. However, what we're looking for, if I go back to the question paper, is course which contains the word art. So what we need to do is use stars. So stars at the start and at the end of art. So hopefully we can find a field like this one, or history of art. Okay, so if I type in star, art, star, it will find all of the records which contains art. So we're down to 178. Okay, so what's the next search criteria? So the weeks is 3 or more. So weeks is going to be more than or equal to 3. Run. And now we're down to 87. So that looks like it's 3 or more. Okay, and you can click down here, you can see, yep, it's more than 3 weeks. Okay, and the next search criteria is paid is equal to yes. So paid is going to be yes. So again, we go back to design view. Underneath paid, we type in yes. So we've got all 3 search criteria in here. And our paid is yes, and we're down to 49 records. Okay. Right, so we've done this now. This is complete, and this is complete. Okay, so before we move forward, we can double check. Course contains art, yeah, 3 or more weeks, and the paid is yes. So now we can press save. Now we're going to make the report. So if we click on create, report wizard. So we want to select these fields as we selected them at the start of this task in the same order. Next. Okay, now we need to look at the sort. The sorts the data into descending order of weeks. So weeks will be descending, and then ascending order of course. So course will be ascending. Because we've done the sorts now, we'll have to fix the order of the fields later on, as you'll see. Okay, so I've just completed this. So I'll highlight that. I've done that now. Properties, and now let me just make that green so it's obvious. I've completed that task. It's going to be portrait. Yep. So it's on portrait. So again, I've just completed this task. Okay. And I'm going to use this title again. So copy. Next. Or you'll see the title still exists here. Okay. If it doesn't, you may have to insert a title again. Finish. Okay, so as you can see, we've got some hashtags. The fields are not in the right order. So the first thing we need to do is data and labels are fully displayed. So it's just above here. Data and labels are fully displayed in this particular order. Okay, so what we need to do, because we've done a sort, it's messed up the order of the fields. So let's put the fields back in the right order. So roll number and course and weeks, it should be in that order. So if we go back to here, to edit the report, let's go to view and layout. Okay, so I'm just going to make some space for myself. I'm pressing Control on my keyboard to select the field name and plus the records. I'm just going to move these across for now. Okay. So I'm just making some space for myself. So now I can put the fields back into the right order. So roll number is the first one. Press Control again to select the field name plus the data. Okay. The second one is course and then weeks. Okay, I'm just going to move the weeks to the right because I need some more space for the course. As you can see, the course, the titles may be long. Okay, and I still need to move the weeks up a little bit. Okay, and I think if I go down, yep, I'm just checking to see all of the data showing. Can you see that I'm missing a T here? So I'm just gonna, and I think that's missing because it's overlapping the roll number. So let me just use the cursor to move that across. Yep, so all the data is showing. Now with the weeks is there, should be weeks, first name, last name, and date of birth. Okay, so and paid is gone missing. So let's see if I go into design view. Paid go. Okay, paid is just gone missing now. It's the first time I've seen that happen. Okay. So back to layout view. Press Control. Okay, before I move forward, let me just check the print preview to see if it fits on 1 page wide, which it does, and 2 pages long or tall. Okay, so that's normal for now. So the data has been sorted in order of weeks. So can you see the weeks, highest number of weeks is at the top going down, and also the course seems to be in alphabetical order as well, according to the weeks. Okay, the orientation is right. It now fits 1 page wide. That's what we've just been doing. Okay, let me change this to green. Okay, now we have to calculate the total number of courses in a selection and position this under the course column. So basically this means we have to count the total number of courses. Okay, so if I click back to make sure I'm in layout view, and if I click on course, I can use this function up here to count the number of records or the number of courses, and this will give us a number, should be 49. Okay, so now we need to include a label. So again, be careful, capital letter for total, lowercase e for enrollments, to left of this. So if we go to design view, okay, so I'm just going to move this across here, and to insert labels, this icon here, and we can copy and paste in the text. Okay, so if we go to the bottom, total enrollments to the left of this number, which is below the course column. Just going to make a little bit, make sure it's definitely below this particular column. Yeah. Okay, so to the left of this number. So make sure you're checking the position of this label. Okay, so the title, Art Summer Schools, that should have been done at the start. Yep, Art Summer Schools. Has your name, centre number and candidate number on the report. So we can put this anywhere, it's not being specific. So again, we can use a label. I'm going to put my name on the first page on the report header. So my name, that's YAHMAD, centre number, candidate number. Okay. So that's been done, that's all been done as well. Okay, so as you can see clearly, before we can make the report, we have to complete the query tasks, which first part of the task is to select the fields. Okay, and then the title. If you name the query the same name, then this title will automatically appear at the top of the report. Then we can filter the data using the search criteria. Okay, so save and print your report. So now I'll print the report off. So again, just before you print, check the print preview, check if all of the fields, the data is showing. So my tip is to zoom out and you can see if all of the data is showing. If anything's cut off, then obviously you need to go and correct that information. You need to make sure also your name is showing. If you're printing with no name on, then this work will not come to you in the exams. Okay, so we can send that to print. And then that's done. And then the evidence we have to complete is screenshot showing a formula used to calculate the total number of courses. So what we need to do is go to design view and do a print screen of this. So step 26. Again, what you need to do is make sure the print screen is clear and it's easy to read and easy for the examiner to mark. Okay, that will do. Okay, so that's that part done. Okay, we're going to be now moving on to the second report. Second report is the same steps we have to take. This is slightly different. We have a new field we have to create, which is going to be calculation. It's going to be multiplying the weeks field. We know this is a field because it's italic, multiplied by weekly cost. And because these are fields, we have to put them to square brackets. Okay, so what we need to do is we can save this and we can close this down. Close this down. So you'll notice the query name has the same name as the report. It just makes it easier to establish which is which. So now the first step again is to create a new query wizard. So using fields from both tables, produce a report. So again, we are going to select the fields first. So Q1. So first name, last name, weekly cost. So make sure you're selecting it from the tables, not from the query. So first name, last name, weekly cost is in the second table. Oh no, it's not. It must be in the rooms table. Yeah, weekly cost. Okay, course on weeks and accommodation. So course, weeks, and then accommodation must be in this table here. Yeah. room type, and room cost. Room cost will be the new field we create. So for now, I'm just going to include room type. Okay. Problems highlighting this. So room type. If we go back to this, no, it was in your wood table. Room type. Okay, so next, and then when you get to this part here, again, if we label a query the same name as the title, it makes our lives easier going forward. So again, capital letter for outstanding, capital letter for R for rooms, and fees, capital F. So it has to be exact. So finish. So again, we're starting with the same amount of records, 299. Once we've done that, again, first thing I'll do, let's do the search criteria. So we need to find accommodation. It has to be this particular accommodation. So for accommodation, I'm just going to copy this. That's the first search criteria we've identified. Okay, it's going to be this one here. As you can see, we don't want these ones here. So if I go to design view, accommodation, type in that particular accommodation, Molesworth Lodge, and we're down to 77, and you can have a look. Yep, this all seems to be the same. So the room type is going to be standard or ensuite. So when you have two pieces of data of 3, you need to include or in the middle. So or this one, or this, or this. In this case, it's just 2 pieces of data, so we only need to include all once. So room type. So design view, room type. So standard or ensuite. Run. So ensuite, you can see on standard. So now we're down to 51 records. Okay, and then the paid is going to be no. So as you can see here, paid is not field we selected. Let me double check. Okay, so this is a normal thing. So what we can do is we can add a new field. Double click on paid. Paid is going to be no. And we're down now to 22 records. But we don't want to show this field. So what we can do, we can search by it, but then we can hide it. And we still have only 22 records. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is to make our new field called room costs. So the new field will go here at the very end. So I'm going to show you 2 methods of making this. You can choose to type this out, room cost. So is it underscore? Let me double check. Yeah, underscore capital C. Make sure again is exact, using capital letters when necessary. So once you typed in, so let's look at the question, contains a new field called room cost. So once you typed out the name of the new field, we need to include a colon, okay, which is calculated at runtime and displayed as a currency. So we need to also make it into a currency. This field will calculate the weeks. This is a field because it's in italic. So we're going to put it into square brackets, multiplied by the weekly cost. So it's basically this field here multiplied by this field here. So square brackets, so let me double check, weeks, close the square brackets, multiplied by weekly costs. So make sure you also include this underscore. Okay. So now if we go to run, it's giving me some, a currency here. So I can go to design view, property sheet, format, currency, 2 decimal places, and that's made it into currency. I'm going to show you a second method of doing the same task. You might find it's easier, you might find it the same. It's up to you. So we're going to click in here and we're going to click on Builder. So what we can do, Yep, so we're basically going to be using these fields here. So it's going to be weeks, okay, and we want to click on multiply by weekly cost. So we don't need to type out anything. Then if I press OK, I can get rid of the space here, and just before the colon I can type in the name of the new field. So the new field was room cost. So room underscore cost. So again, it's the same thing. I think the formatting must be done from the previous version or way of doing this. Okay, so we can use a builder or we can type out using the old method. So just before I move on to making a report, I've selected the correct fields. I've got the correct title, outstanding room fees. So let me go back. Yeah, I've created a new field, which is a calculation. It's calculating the weeks by the weekly cost, which gives us this figure here. Okay, and it's in currency to two decimal places. And now I'm going to press save. Now I'm ready to move on to make the report. Okay, so let's make the report. So create report wizard. Select all of the fields, including room cost, in the same order. Okay, let's see which sort we have to do. So sort the last name into ascending order. Change this into green. So last name. So remember, because we're doing a sort, we're going to have to change the fields back into the right order. Okay, so that's done. We're going to have the page orientation as landscape. You'll see the same title is still here because we had this title for the query, and sometimes the same title will come again. If it doesn't, just enter the title again exactly as it appears in the exam paper. Now we can finish. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is landscape, but I think the first thing we have to do is make sure all of the data is showing. So let's go into layout view. Fits and we have to make sure it fits, and we have to make sure the fields are in the correct order again. So because we've done a sort on the last name, you'll notice it's the first field, but the first field we want to show is the first name. So again, I'm using control to select the field name plus the name and the data for that particular field. Okay, so again, always double check there's nothing cropped off. So is it first name, last name, weekly cost, course, weeks, accommodation. Yeah, so this looks like it's in the right order. So I'm just going to move it across. Make sure again you're not cropping off any of the data. So if I go down, so as you can see, I'm just checking studies. I'm just going to use my cursor key to move that across. Okay. And this part is very important. This is a part where silly mistakes could happen. Marks could be lost. So when you do print, you need to make sure you check in to see if all of the data is showing exactly, as it should be. Okay, and then the last one, room cost. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now let's have a look. It fits on a single page. That's completed. Properties. Okay, so we're almost ready to print. Okay, so title should be outstanding room fees. Yeah, that's right. Does not display a page number when printed. So we're going to fix that in a moment. But before we do so, let's go to print preview. If I zoom out, I just want to check if all of the data is showing. Yep, it's on one page wide. The names are showing, nothing's cut off. This is in a correct currency. Okay, let me just go back to the print preview and we'll zoom out. You'll notice we've got the page number here at the bottom. It's asking us do not display the page number when printed, so we have to delete this page number. So what we can do is, if we go to design view, this information here, we can highlight, click on it and just press delete. Okay, and when we check the print preview, you'll notice it will be gone. Has your name, center number and candidate number at the top right of the report. I've done this as well, so using a label again, we can insert this information. So Yasser Ahmed, comma 5 6 7 8, comma 1 2 3 4. Okay, so now let's check the print preview. So my name, it's not exactly in the top right, so sometimes the exam they can be quite fussy, so you need to make sure it's exactly in the top right and make sure nothing's cropped off. So again, if we go to print preview, you'll notice my name's in the top right corner and there's no page information here at the bottom, so we can count this as done. Okay, properties, done. Okay, so now I can print this off and that's my second report. Okay, so print, and we can go okay. And like I said before a number of times, just always double check your printouts, make sure there's no mistakes. If you have to print again, then you have to print again. Okay, so let me close this down, save. Okay, question 28. Data in a gender field is encoded, displaying M for male and F for female. In your own words, give 2 reasons for encoding the data. Enter your answers into your evidence document. So question 28. So basically what we can say, if I refer back to the mark scheme, it's going to save file space. So instead of writing out the full word for male or for female, we can use the first letters M or F. It's going to be easier to enter the data, so rather than typing out the full word, you just type the first letter. It's less chance of making mistakes. It's easy to understand and it's probably more efficient. So I'm going to copy and paste just the first 3. You only need 2, and I'll place this into the evidence document. Okay, so first, that's my reasons there. Okay, so that's that done. 2 marks there for the 2 different reasons. Now the telephone number of each student will be added in a new field. Identify the most appropriate data type for this field and in your own words give a reason for your choice. Okay, enter your answers in the evidence document. So question 29 again. Okay, so a telephone number sometimes may include a plus, so 974 and then whatever the number is. So because we're including symbols, it would make sense to format that particular field as a text data type. So again, if I go back to the mark scheme, so question 29, so as you see here, alphanumeric text may contain additional characters. Okay, that's a plus symbol. So again, we can copy. You can paste, or you would have to write this information out yourself. So, and make this bigger. Okay, just gonna make it a little bit smaller. And again, that's another 2 marks again. Right. And the last evidence, you'll notice is 4 marks available here. So what we need to do is a form has been created to enter data into the students table. Evaluate in your own words the gender and payment type fields in this form here. So we have to look at gender first. Okay, so as you can see, we have a little box here to tick for male or for female, but we have an additional box here which is not necessary, so that doesn't have to be there. We can also say male have the full text and have a full text female as well. Now for the payment type, we have a large box here, so I don't think the field length is necessary. For course, you notice there's a drop down menu. I think it would be easier if we had a drop down menu to select the different methods of payment. Okay, so if we go back to the mark scheme, so question 30, so in our evidence document, we need to evaluate those two particular fields. What have they got here? So remove the additional, so this is for the gender, so the additional button, so would be to get rid of this one here, not necessary. Okay, so it could be a drop down menu. What we can say by ticking these boxes is easier than to write out the information like you would have to for the first name and last name. Okay, so let's look at the payment one. So I'm just going to add two easy ones, I feel. So remove additional button. Okay. I'll use this one as well. So in the exam, you'd have to write in just some short sentences. I'm just using this as a guide to help you guys. Okay, so let's just make that into bullet points. So in the exam, just write in short sentences for these evaluation questions. And gender, and then the next field is going to be payment. Okay, so payment type. Copy this. And again, the field length, there's no need to have it so long. And we could have a drop down menu, so basically 2 points we discussed. Okay, so like I said, in the exam, make sure you include your evaluations in short sentences. Okay, one more thing we could argue or we can mention is maybe some information or some instructions on the form so the user knows how to complete the form. So for example, we can have a little box here that says select the correct gender, select from the menu the correct payment type. So we can also have some sort of instruction or additional labels. Okay, so again, we can use up to 100 words, so short sentences to get your point across. Okay, so that's the database part complete.